DeFi Kingdoms' incredible vision will blow you away. Director of Gaming Hubert Cumberdale and President of Kingdom Studios Dreamer share how this MMORPG is prepared to dominate on-chain gaming.
One thing would be traveling in the game, where you'd actually be moving your heroes around to different regions on the map. Based on which region you're in, there'd be different content available there, different monsters you can fight, different profession quests you can do, other different things that you can do, plus access to lands, and bringing lands into the whole gameplay loop as being kind of a core place to take care of different functionality in the game and within the economy, having them be kind of the locations that you go to in order to do crafting, having them kind of really play into just that whole aspect of, oh, there's something going on in this region, and you would go to the lands in that region to help support you do those things. And just allowing us, once we have that kind of core model set up, then all we need to do at that point, I think, is just keep iterating, adding on more content, adding dungeons, adding new monsters, new levels, new skills, new classes once we get to other expansions and whatnot. But really having that be kind of the core gameplay loop of, you're traveling around, there's different things happening. You log into the game and see if there's anything special going on. There might be a special event that you want to participate in. Maybe there's something that you knew was coming and now it's time, plus, that's all just on the PvE side. We also have PvP that we're in development with right now as well. We plan to have tournaments and other content in the future with that as well. So, there'd be PvP content going on, and really just making it a very engaging kind of MMORPG feeling game where you have your legion of heroes and you're managing them and using them to do, various combat and kind of live within the realm of DeFi Kingdoms with it. So, there's a lot to get to the end point on that, but that's generally the overall goal that I see us going towards.
Thanks, Hubert. So we're going to tackle this from two different perspectives. Hubert just talked about all the things that are a part of the build vision. I'm going to try to say a lot of the same stuff, but from like the player experience. So first is classes. We just had Berserker come out. This is what, the 6th class? What does that mean? We have 6 classes out. Some might say, hey, before PvP, it'd be really great if we had all classes out. I think this is setting us up perfectly for when, the various forms and stages of PvP start to come out. We now have at least one unique class per slot, right? There's a lot of different combinations, each class having a number of different combinations within themselves, combinations with different equipment as well. We have kind of the bare minimum to make this really exciting in terms of player versus player competition. Super excited about that. As people see that and experience it, now imagine each class that comes out, the overall impact that'll have on a meta. We'll actually have a never-changing kind of meta each time there's updates, new classes, and so on. So the overall vision of just the classes is really cool as it relates to the competitive nature of PvP. Stoked about that. PvP, I am excited for because it's a unique hook. It's something that the game lacks currently. There's a lot of players out there that like video games and grew up playing competitive games. There's a lot of other players that like to have the balance where you can have your PvE experience and everything, but really test yourself in PvP. And as you maybe lose or reach your goals, you kind of retreat back into PvE and you have that balance, that love, give and take between them. It's going to completely change it for our hardcore players. It's going to change it for new players. And it's going to change it for onlookers. When we look at Twitter and other forms of social media where we share things, I love watching hunt replays. If you're somebody that doesn't understand the game and doesn't play it and you watch it, you'll be like, this is cool. I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. You beat the boss. That's cool. But when we look at PvP and you have streamers that may not be playing, they might just be commentating on a tournament that's sponsored by XYZ sponsor that is getting some kind of cool prize pool that's participating in some IRL event. And now I'm an onlooker and I say, oh, wow, these people are playing. I at least understand they won. How'd they win? That's pretty cool. Wow, look at all of those assets that are tokenized in game. Where do they come from? I'm going to try it out. That whole vision of PvP for a hook for new players is really exciting to me. It's not only a hook to get them in to play PvP, but there's a secondary hook built in there. If you like PvP, if you like watching it, and as a spectator, there's unique things you can do, you're going to get pulled into PvP, which then pulls you into the full realms. Because if you're enjoying PvP, guess what? You're going to want to go to DFK Chain and Klaytn. You're going to want to go to Serendale and Crystal Vale to, level up your heroes, to look at all the different forms of benefit that ultimately contribute to PvP. So there's multiple hooks within PvP that the long-term vision we should be excited about. It's not just saying, hey, now we have a way to play each other. This could be a huge catalyst for the entire movement of onboarding, of current players, of as some people refer to as like guilds or social play. I know we don't have official guilds there right now, but we have a lot of social groups. Going to be really cool. As we look at other features that aren't currently in priority, but are definitely going to change the game long-term vision, shifting away from PvP and back to like the full realms, keeping in mind the more PvP grows and is exciting on the streaming, the spectator, and other features that I'm being very careful not to mention, the full realms have a lot of change in the future as well from the player's perspective. Today, we are commanders of legions of heroes. We're farming, we're leveling up, we're getting stronger, we're summoning, we're dark summoning, we're using pets, we're feeding pets, we're getting equipment. In the future, there's going to be durability and so on. But the biggest game changer, I think, in that experience will be travel. The opportunity cost of stamina, but also like the location of those assets. That's going to be so freaking cool. It's going to really challenge the player to say, what do I do with my legion? What do I do with all of my assets? How do I, maybe I'm looking at it from an ROI perspective. Maybe I'm trying to maximize my ability to win upcoming PvP matches. Maybe I'm trying to qualify for unique matches that other third parties are going to host. It's not only going to be PvP cool, get in the game to like level up and get equipment and come back and play. The experience is going to massively change with things like travel, with things like crafting that will connect all of the in-game economies to the features that are in store and live today. The last piece I'll mention that is really important for that long-term vision is game loop. We have a really good end game loop. Even today, our hardcore players love doing the min-maxing. We have incredible streams of people looking at different ways and different traits and different rarities. New players struggle a bit with that like early game loop. Scrub fights and other features that will cater to newer players to come in. It's not only about tutorials. How do you do all the hard things in the game? There's got to be fun things for people to do related to battle, related to combat, related to maybe PvP or PvE or other things that are little hooks. If we think about starting a new RPG game, man, you're excited about just basic attacking an enemy and just seeing how like the timing works and just understanding what strength is. Now, if you're a hardcore RPG player, you hop in and you're like, okay, I get all this. You kind of want to rush through it, but folks are going to want to take it slow, especially given the unique nature of DeFi Kingdoms, where we've tokenized the crap out of everything. So that is going to be a part of that long-term vision that's going to be really important. And something as simple as like level 1 to level 5 little fights where people can come in and with their level 1 to 5 heroes get in there and feel like, oh, whoa, I beat an enemy. This is cool. You don't have to go in and beat like the end bosses right away, because that's really hard. It's meant to be really hard. These type of things are going to continue to change the game from a player's perspective, from a user acquisition perspective, from an economy perspective, from a demand perspective. So we have to keep in mind time is required to make sure we do all these things in the right order, in the right quality, in the right testing environment, and to make it safe for existing players. So that vision, as we zoom out, I might have zoomed out, I don't know how many years in that kind of ramble. But what we do know is we got 6 classes out. That's exciting. It's okay the other ones aren't out, because the more features that use those codexes and are live, every time those new ones come out, the ROI of that release is going to be significantly greater than having them all out today. But it's also okay that we took time to sprint out 2 to get to 6, because 6 is a great number in a 3v3 environment. I feel like we're sitting pretty on that. We're progressing well on PvP. We have good partners for it. We have a good vision. And on everything else that may be on the back burner as we get ready for it, including like crafting, travel, and others, we know that when we get to that point and are ready for it, it's going to change the game in a completely different way. We got to trust the process. We have to trust our incredible game committee and the order of operations as we're releasing things. But hopefully that adds a little bit of light on the vision from the player's perspective and how incredible the DeFi Kingdoms experience. And we didn't even talk about, new realms and kind of having different versions of stuff we already had. We only talked about the core big features and how it really changes the game for the long-term vision of the player.